Grandma, tell me. You were the most famous actress in Hollywood. How did it all happen? How did you get there?
Okay, I'll tell you. But don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you want more stories. Oh, sweetheart, if only you knew how much hard work and luck it took to get there. All right, listen closely. It all started when I was just a little older than you, fresh out of school. We lived in a small town, and it always felt like life there was like living inside a box. I watched old movies with Marlene Dietrich and Audrey Hepburn and dreamed of being in their place. It seemed like the world outside our little town was enormous, shining, and full of opportunities. I knew that if I stayed, I would never forgive myself for missing out on my dreams. So, one day, I packed my things and bought a one-way ticket to Los Angeles. I had my last bit of money in my pocket, but my heart was burning with hope. When I arrived, Los Angeles was nothing like I had imagined. It was much tougher. You see, there were thousands of girls like me, all chasing the same dream. Every day, they'd line up at auditions, hoping that today would be the day luck smiled upon them. But reality was hard. At first, I lived in a shabby hotel. The room was so tiny I could barely stretch my arms. For dinner, I often had just a bag of chips. I remember my first audition. You would have laughed if you saw me. I wore an old dress I borrowed from my neighbor and was so nervous. But I took it seriously. I practiced my lines every day in front of the mirror, thinking that if I did everything right, someone would notice me. But Hollywood doesn't work that way. No one even looked at me. They just nodded, and I left with my shoulders slumped. It felt like the whole world had turned against me. And it happened again and again. Rejections, dozens of failed auditions, tears, exhaustion. But giving up? No, that wasn't for me. I wanted too badly to prove that I could do it, that I deserved to be at the top. Then, one day, when it seemed like I couldn't go on, fate decided to show its other side. I remember that day as if it were today. My agent, I had just found him, a small-time guy with no big clients, called me and said there was an opportunity, a casting for a new big film. It was a small supporting role, but still, I went there as usual. With no big expectations, just doing my job. The director was stern, barely looked at us. But when it was my turn, something changed. I walked into the room and felt that this moment was different from the others. I performed the scene with such passion that I surprised even myself. Afterward, there was complete silence. I was about to leave when suddenly the director looked up and said, "Stay for a minute." That was my chance. They called me back for final auditions, and within a month, you won't believe it, I got the role. A small one, but a noticeable one. I thought it was just one step, but I was wrong. That movie became a hit. Everyone noticed my performance. They started inviting me for interviews, writing articles, and from there, everything started moving fast. One role led to another, and each one got bigger. Suddenly, I was that girl whose face was on posters all over the city. It was like a dream, but also a nightmare. Because Hollywood isn't just about the glamour, it's also about the cruelty. Do you remember the film that won me the Oscar? No one expected it. I was a young actress surrounded by global stars. When they announced my name, I didn't realize at first that it was really happening. Standing on that stage with the golden statue in my hands, I saw millions of eyes watching me. It was a moment of triumph, and at the same time, the realization that now they expected more from me. You know, that was only half of the journey. Hollywood isn't a place where you can relax. Every day is a battle for roles, recognition, and a place under the sun. I gave my all, performing better each time, learning, growing as an actress. But the most important thing was always my belief in myself. Even when everything went against me, I knew I had to keep going, no matter what. And here I am, sitting in front of you, telling you this story. But you know, sweetheart, it doesn't matter how famous or successful you become. What truly matters is your passion for what you do and your ability to never give up. You can be anything if you truly want it.
Grandma, I never knew you had it so tough. You're so strong.
Every one of us is strong, dear. Sometimes you just have to believe that you can move mountains. And one day, you'll see that you really can.